So, Edwin, let's see. How often do you think you struggle with anger?
Pretty often.
Okay. And if I were to ask, when do you think you are the least angry?
That's the secret. I'm always angry.
Hey, welcome back to a Short Journey podcast. I'm Antonio Herrera,
My name is Edwin Vasquez.
and today we're going to continue on these series of 7 episodes. And today we're going to talk about the third capital sin. So we've already talked about pride and then envy, and now we're talking about which one? Wrath. So these three, as we've mentioned, are the three capital sins that come from within outwards. It's an outward expression of an internal conflict, an internal infection of our soul that comes out as a sin. So these three have that in common. They come from within and they come out outward. And what is a capital sin? Well, the capital sin comes from the Latin word that means head, and from the head, the capital, comes all its members. And if we think about the tree, the roots is the capital sin, and it extends into the big branches, and they go all over, reaching all other kinds of sins. So from that capital sin comes many other sins. And we have the other episodes in our channel, so don't forget to like this video, comment if you have a question for us, and subscribe to our channel and share it with others. Also, if you know which, or you want to take a guess on which capital sin is next, then let us know in the comments.
Yeah. Go ahead and add it down there. Take a wild guess.
So let's define wrath. What is wrath? And if we say wrath or anger, we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah. So anger / wrath. All right, we're going to talk about. So anger is the emotional feeling of dislike or even discontent towards someone or something. I have this strong feeling against this one person or against this something. It can even be like a feeling of vengeance towards someone. You're maybe a planning, or you're actually trying to do something against your brother, your sister, and unfortunately, sometimes or a lot of times, people that are very how would you say, wrathful, full of wrath, full of anger, they fall under that feeling or that thought that because it's in my DNA, that's how I am. I cannot help it. And so something that I would like to clarify, and also like I learned this as well, was that, this is an emotion. It's like a feeling. And because it is that, it's part of us as human beings. We are, as human beings, we're complex beings. So it's almost hard not to have this feeling. So it's natural feeling. Even Jesus had that feeling, and at times. But because it is this emotion, we have to know how to control it. We can't control it. And we have to also remember, in certain instances, in certain moments in life, it could be understandable, it could be accepted. But what cannot be accepted is that wrath looking for vengeance to hurt someone else or something else. Yeah. So that's wrath in a nutshell.
Yeah. So a lot of times we may see the movie Inside Out, and we look at the emotion wrath, and we think like, oh, it's something so simple, or yes, I get angry, or I have an emotion that is anger inside of my head, but it's not bad. And no, the thing is that this capital sin, it's a capital sin because it becomes so evil, so infected inside of us, that we think that it's normal. Yeah. We think that it's very common, and that it's just who I am, like you said. And it's not. It's more than an emotion. It's a reaction. Yeah. What is a reaction whenever we get angry? is our reaction a good reaction, or is our reaction like you said, a vengeful reaction, something that ignites something inside of us and we want to hurt the other person? So that is the thing to watch out for. It is more than an emotion. It is an action, a reaction to this circumstance or this problem or this something that happened, you know? And then a lot of times we think of it, we try to think that we're the Hulk, you know, that Hulk, the Hulk thinks that the anger or his anger is something positive, something good. And like you said, it's an emotion that is very natural, but we have to be careful and learn how to control it, because like the Hulk, if he doesn't learn how to control it, he hurts and smashes and goes around hurting other people. Right?
On a rampage.
Yeah. And then he turns red and then goes even more savage, you know? Because there's different levels of the Hulk, if you know. Okay. And then is there righteous anger? Because a lot of times we may think of the Old Testament and say, oh, God is always so angry. Like, man, the Old Testament God is not the same as the New Testament. But no, the wrath, when we say the wrath of God, it is the justified wrath of God, because there is a justified wrath. Do you find, do you react in anger for something that is just, or is it something out of vengeance, like you said? So do you want to hurt other people for the pure doing of, or the pure action of hurting other people? Or do you react in a way that possibly may hurt other people, but is justified to save the life of a loved one? So in the case of self-defense, whenever your life is at stake, or the stake of your family is on the line, then you are called to be wrathful, but in a justified way, for the protection and the safety of your loved ones, of your own life. So then it becomes wrath in a justified way. So it's not, it is an emotion, but let's be careful on how we react with this emotion. Let it not control you to the point of losing complete control, like the Hulk.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And we're also going to go a little bit into an example. I guess we've talked about this example before in previous video, but it applies to this as well,
because we'll see how it's like a chain, that, or a domino effect. From one sin comes another. So the first sin that we talked about was pride, with Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. So that's pride, wanting to know more than God, wanting to be in a level of God. And then from Adam and Eve, we have Cain and Abel. Well, Cain didn't like, or he was envious of the offering that his brother gave to God. And God accepted Abel's offering more than Cain, so he was envious of his brother. And where did that lead him? Where did envy lead him to? So it led him to being angry, to feeling wrath. And then where did wrath take him to? It took him to killing and taking his brother's life. So that's how we see how it's a domino effect. One sin goes to another, leads to another, leads to another, and then it leads to death of your own brother.
Right.
Imagine that.
It's pretty sad. Pretty sad. Now, there's also, because we're following this pattern of questions that we can ask ourselves, right? Of ways that I can probably identify if I have this certain sin in my life. And a few questions that we can ask ourselves: do I get angry for no reason? Do I get excessively angry for something small, for a small thing that happened? Am I getting angry to the point where I want to murder someone, where I want to take their life? Am I the type of person that will hit someone uncontrollably? A few questions that we can ask ourselves, and even while I'm reading them, maybe it was just a time where maybe I lost control a little bit, or where I got angry for no reason. These questions, they're very thought-provoking, because we could just sit down and reflect on them, and in various moments of our lives.
Yeah. I would also ask this question: are we aggressive with others, but then when they start getting aggressive with us, it's like, hold up, you're crossing the line.
Yeah.
So we don't see that line for other people, but then we establish a line that, hey, after this, don't come any closer. But then we're willing to push other people, to that point, to that limit. And then are we very direct with our words? Sometimes not seeing the consequences of the things that we say to others, or the I guess the critiques that we give them, or maybe you're saying something without really thinking on whether it's going to hurt this person, whether it's going to motivate them to get angry. Are we causing other people to get angry also, or instigating? Are we instigating, spreading seeds into their heart so that way they get mad? Are we pushing people like, hey, sometimes we do this as brothers, that the other brother, he's over there calm, he's in the couch, and we go over there and we just want to mess with him, like out of nowhere for no reason. It's kind of like Garfield and the Otis. Yeah, the dog. I don't know if you've seen that. And he pushes him off the
couch,
for no reason.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
It's just wanting to fight, no? And so, do we get angry with someone and then act as if nothing happened, not even acknowledging that we just had an argument, and then it's like nothing happened?
Yeah.
If this happens during in a marriage, this is very critical, because it's very dangerous to leave a problem unsolved, to just have an argument and then we just act like nothing happened. That is very critical, very harmful for your marriage, very harmful for various other relationships. So is everyone to blame for other problems except for you? So everybody's at fault except I didn't do anything. Like, hey, I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
It wasn't me. And then you sometimes we think that everybody's at blame except for us.
Exactly. One other example that I forgot to mention, and I will say it's something that I me personally, I have to, come to terms with at times, is the fact that for those of you that are watching us and you have kids, you probably understand me. Our kids, man, they're so energetic. They're very outspoken, they're go-getters, right? So they'll take decisions on their own, or they'll try to run off. We're like when in a parking lot or something. And it's really easy to just get angry. Like, I've told you, like, stop running away. Or like, you'll get angry with something that they did at home or something. And so it's instances like those, examples like those that we have to kind of like, and again, I'm talking to myself here, is, hey, calm down, look at the situation, assess the situation. The kid probably still doesn't know what's going on, or they don't think through like what they're doing. So take it easy, right? Mm-hmm. So if you have kids like that as well, I feel you. We can do this. We can get through it.
Yes. And then we're going to talk about some sins that come from anger, from wrath. So these capital sins branch off into many sins. And a couple of examples is, like we mentioned before with Cain and Abel, is homicide. So we end up possibly killing or wanting to kill these other people. I know it's very common that you receive these calls from car insurance or car warranty, or car extended warranty and stuff. And it's constant calls, and you get mad, so mad to the point that you start wishing I don't know what to these people, and you just talk back, and you say very hurtful things, and that's kind of like also a verbal homicide. Mm-hmm. So killing others with your words, killing others with the way you interpret yourself with them, and that's the worst kind of bullets, verbal bullets that never end, that never stop. Something that you said to somebody, you weren't cautious with your words, and it keeps penetrating, and it keeps going, and it keeps going, because it's in their mind and their memory. And we're hurting people, and we're committing homicide in these people verbally. Also, genocide on a different level. So that's the mass killing of certain group or a certain, kind of people, or a certain specific target because of this one person. Now you're angry and mad with everybody, and you wish all of them were gone. I've heard many other things, but let's keep it at that. It also takes anger also takes you to hate holding grudges, being prideful, and to not forgiving others, not not acknowledging that you got angry and that you hurt other people. So also it takes you to revenge, like we had said, and it takes you to break relationships with your brother. And we are not called to break relationships. We are called to create relationships, to be in union, to be in fraternity. So this is contrary. Wrath takes you contrary to the plan of God, which is to love each other and to be in union.
Exactly. Got to build bridges, not walls.
Not tearing them down.
Not tearing them down.
Walls.
Yeah. Don't create that wall amongst like with other people around you. Create that bridge.
Yeah.
A few other examples of sins that can come up from wrath, from rage, from anger, is an example of indignation, of feeling like everything is unjust, based off of your personal opinion. Based off of my personal opinion, everything is unfair. Like life is unfair. So now you're mad with everybody, mad with the world, mad with life. So because this is not convenient for me, now I'm angry, or something that I want, but I didn't get it. So now I'm angry. Even I just thought of another example, like people that are kind of like unhappy with everything. You'll see that a lot with people at work, people, friends, like they just cannot seem to be happy because everything is like how they don't want it. It's too hot. Oh, it's too cold. I have to walk too far, or I have to take this many steps. They just seem angry. It's pretty sad when you see that, and people, they just live like that. So it's, we got to look at that too. Maybe we're living like that and we haven't even noticed. When you start raising your voice to try, quote unquote, try to get your point across, and I'll start raising my voice, start yelling. When a lot of times you start at a point where you're yelling, whatever you're trying to say, whatever you're trying to speak over someone else, and you start yelling, and sometimes you can't even understand what you're saying because your voice, you're losing clarity or whatnot. But so because now I'm trying to get my point across, now I have to yell. And again, that's not healthy. And I mean, for me, is like I'll lose my voice really quick, so I couldn't even do that. Using bad language, like cussing a lot, or being foul-mouthed, blasphemy. There's this Catholic theologian that was talking about it, and he said that his dad, used to tell him, when he was a kid, that people that use a lot of profanity are people that don't know how to express their feelings or their ideas. And I heard that and I was like, wow, that's true, because like they'll start cussing every other word, and like, wow, that's
you can see that they have a limited vocabulary. Continue to use the same words
repeated. So, which is why it's good to read, because that's how we expand our vocabulary. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll get angry, and then let's say like your mind goes blank, and I've seen this in a lot of people. I know a few people like that they get angry and they just lose it, and then they just start cussing everything and everyone, and then it's really like for someone that maybe not like that, and you're around someone like that, it's like intimidating, because you're like, let me just walk away, or name calling, starting to call people by different names, different nicknames that are like abusive, they're offensive to the person. Sometimes we'll say, it's just words, nothing's gonna happen. There's that phrase that says, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, right?
Yeah.
But that's not true, because words cut deep. And when we start name calling people, we may think it's fun. We may think that it's just joking with someone.
Yeah.
But that can really hurt someone. That can really hurt them. And so we have to be careful with that as well. And also just the fact of disagreeing with everybody, disagreeing, fighting, arguing. He's just like, some people even just enjoy it, just the fact of like, they want to be in disagreement with you. So they're just, whatever you say, if it's white, they say it's black. You know, if I say it's sunny, it says it's raining. You know, so it's like they're just you
They
know,
enjoy it.
yeah, they enjoy it, and that's a sad way to live, because then you just don't enjoy life because you're angry all the time, and that also can lead to health problems. So you have to be careful. We have to be careful with that so that we can live a long, prosperous life. Just live happy.
Yeah. And I think now another example that comes to my mind is that those who are angry it comes from a reason. There's a reason behind it. So maybe they were hurt whenever they were growing up. Maybe their father was this way. So they continue that chain, and that chain never stops until you stop it.
Yeah.
And then you say, you know what? I do not want to be like this. And I do not want my kids to grow up like this. So whenever you cut that sin, you cut that like hereditary trait of anger in your family and your generations, and you stop it, then you become a new person, and then your kids grow up knowing a new kind of person. No?
Yeah.
And so sometimes those who are angry because of one instance, they get angry with everybody in their life, everybody in the world, including God. And sometimes when we get mad with God, we cannot see beyond that anger, beyond that resentment, beyond that grudge that we hold towards the whole world, towards everybody. And we don't see that we are the problem.
Yeah.
We are causing more problem than solution by being mad.
Yeah.
So
It's like we're blindfolded, right?
You're blindfolded. And so again, whenever this circumstance comes up, what is your action? And that action is going to take you to either the good or the bad.
Yeah.
And we also have a couple of tips to fight wrath. Is it possible? Yes, we can fight wrath, even though you may see that all the saints in the walls, you know, they're like just so gentle and they're praying all the time, and their faces look just so full of joy. Yeah, so peaceful and angelic. But no, some of these saints also struggled with wrath, with many other sins, and we'll go over that in a little bit. But how can we fight with wrath?
How can we fight against this?
Against it,
against this wrath that we may feel. So there's we're gonna go over a few examples. The first one is the virtue of forgiveness. We have to be able to forgive. And if you haven't noticed, you know, if you're new to the channel, we have a video only on forgiveness. So if you can go over there, we'll add a link to it.
Yeah.
Go and take a look at that. You know, we talk of the whole video, the whole episode is only about forgiveness. So if you want to learn a little bit more, if you want to learn with us, go ahead and take a look at that. So forgiveness and patience, being patient. And again, that is also something hard, because when we ask for forgiveness, you know, we'll ask for God for forgiveness. And I remember this now because my wife will tell me, you know, like, hey, we asked God for forgiveness. So, I mean, for patience. So now we have her get. You know, our son, he's like super energetic and he's like all over the place. So he's like, okay, come on, patience. But so the virtue of patience, having patience with people, will definitely help you, you know, be able to fight against that rage that sometimes we may feel against others. Another example that I've learned over time is the emotional intelligence. Practicing emotional intelligence, that helps a lot. Being able to identify like a situation, and being able to know how to respond to that situation helps a lot. Helps a lot by avoiding certain scenarios that could, you know, develop from maybe reacting a wrong way. Yeah. A good example that I've mentioned before on the channel is, let's say we're walking down the street or we're in a restaurant or something, and then someone spills a glass of water on us. The question for a lot of us would be, hey, did that make you mad? First answer that I would say 99% of people will say, yeah, that made me, you know, that was outrageous. Like, why would that person do that? But in reality, if we really sit down and analyze the situation, that the fact that someone spilled a cup of water on you doesn't make you mad. It makes you wet, right? So the water is all over you, so you're wet. You choose to get mad, right? So if we practice this, again, practicing that patience, calm down, breathe, let's forgive this person, right? Like, all right, maybe something happened. Maybe he tripped. Maybe there was something that was out of his control.
Yeah.
So it's okay. Nothing happens. You could dry that shirt in the dryer or something. All it is just you got wet. So is practicing that emotional intelligence will help us be able to encounter certain situations in life and say, okay, how can I respond to this? What is the next step? Thinking with a level head. So that's going to help a lot. And then also in the Catechism of the Catholic Church, it talks about anger. So it's something that, we as human beings, again, we're complex human beings. We have emotions. It's almost impossible not to feel anything, right? So like the Catechism tells us in the number 2302, it says that anger is a desire for revenge. And then it goes on by saying that if anger reaches the point of a deliberate desire to kill or seriously wound a neighbor, it is gravely against charity. It is a mortal sin. But if we look at the Bible, the Lord tells us in Matthew chapter 5, verse 44 to 45, but I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your heavenly Father. So what is that saying? Love, right?
Yeah.
Love. That's another example. Let's love our brothers and sisters that may want to harm us, or they may want to, maybe they don't agree with us. We don't have to get angry with them. Let's love them. Okay. Again, this emotion, this passion, it can't be controlled. We just need to be patient and be able to look at the whole situation and assess the situation and see how I can respond.
Yes. And I think a lot of us, we may say that, I can't control my emotions, or I was born this way. I'm like this. This is me. This is who I am.
Yeah.
And I think we may confuse our personality with our emotions. Mm-hmm. Your emotions you can control. Your personality is based on, your emotions are going to be based on your personality, and some emotions might be more common, more easier to show, more or maybe harder to show depending on your personality. But that does not mean you cannot modify, control your emotions. You can, you really can. Although they may be natural, it is a natural instinct, but they can be not suppressed, but controlled to know when to show how much of this emotion, when to show less of this emotion. And sin is a disorder of oneself. So it guides you, a disorder of your emotions. Or your actions coming from your emotions. Mm-hmm. So what is a virtue? A virtue is to put in order what is in disorder.
Yeah.
So the virtues are the way that we fight the evil, that we fight the sin. We do not go head on in collision with the sin. So how do I fight with wrath? I'm not gonna get mad tomorrow. Like that's how I'm gonna fight wrath. No, it doesn't work like that. It works with changing a bad practice with a good practice.
Yeah.
So to fight off wrath, we have to practice patience. But then, like you said, we got to be careful, because if we ask for patience, which we should, we're gonna ask for patience, and we're gonna be given more circumstances, more problems, so we can practice that patience. Yeah. So it's like a working muscle. A virtue is something that you have to work hard at. Yeah. So all the saints, they weren't very good with this virtue, but they practice it daily, and then they achieved heaven. So that's what we should do.
Yeah.
Like these saints that we have here, a couple examples of saints who struggled with wrath, with anger, with rage, and they're in heaven. So maybe somebody that we can look up to and ask for, hey man, how did you do it? Because I'm struggling.
Yeah, definitely.
I need help.
Definitely. There's plenty of saints that we can ask for intercession to help us overcome, this rage that we may feel. One clear example is Saint Peter. When in Gethsemane, when the soldiers came to arrest Jesus, it says that one of the apostles, he drew his sword and cut the servant's ear. That was Saint Peter, and he, I guess you could say that instant of that emotion, of that anger towards these soldiers, like, what are you guys doing? Like, he's our teacher. He's done nothing but help people. He's done nothing but teach. that can be understandable because I mean honestly I would feel angry too if they came out of nowhere and try to arrest my teacher for teaching good things, but Jesus immediately told him, calm down, put up the sword. Don't you know that those that live by the sword will also die by the sword? And so in that moment, Jesus is teaching St. Peter that violence is not the key. Mm-hmm. It is never the answer. So a huge example of St. Peter, of how to fight and how to be able to focus on, hey, let's not go there. Yeah. So one clear example is St. Peter.
Yes, we also have some other examples. We have two right here, St. Jerome and St. Francis de Sales. Mm-hmm. So we're not going to go too much into their life for time, circumstances, but we're going to leave their names in the description. Maybe you can look them up a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But they're also great examples of saints who struggled with wrath, with anger, with their temperament, and they also struggled with it, and maybe they can teach us how to fight against the wrath, against anger, exactly, and achieve heaven.
Yeah, definitely. And we have examples of saints, but there's also a lot of prayer that we could do to overcome this rage, this wrath. Just prayer alone will help, But we have a couple examples of a few things that we can kind of like go over to help us overcome it in a moment of despair, a moment of anger. Saint Teresa of Avila, or Saint Teresa of Jesus, was a Carmelite nun. Sorry, that was a tongue twister. And she wrote this poem called "God Alone Is Enough," or some will call it "Let Nothing Disturb You," and it says, "Let nothing disturb you, let nothing frighten you. All things are passing away. God never changes. Patience obtains all things. Whoever has God lacks nothing. God alone is enough." That's a very powerful poem that she wrote. I think she was one of the first doctors of the church. It teaches a lot about patience, right? And then there's also a quick prayer that I'm sure you have heard, because I've heard it, throughout life a couple times. It's a really quick prayer that I would like for you guys to join us in, so that we can go over and maybe ask God to help us, right? So if you guys could join me in this moment, it's called the Serenity Prayer. And it says, "God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen."
Amen.
So just a few examples. We'll add these as well to the notes, to the description, so that you guys can have for your reference. A quick idea that I thought about was like, for example, these two, like the poem and this prayer, since they're so short, we can add them like a little note card and just have them in your pocket. And maybe, which I think I'm going to have to do too, because, with my son, sometimes it's hard. But, make a little postcard, like a little, note card, and add them both, maybe even laminate it, so it doesn't get damaged, and just add it to your pocket. And then whenever you have a moment of anger, pull it out and just read it really quick. And then I'm pretty sure it's going to help us a lot battle, this sin of anger, of wrath. Mm-hmm. So this is an example.
Yeah, so that's all for this episode. I hope you liked it. And if you did, please leave us a like, a comment, share it, subscribe, hit the little bell so that way you can receive notifications of future videos. And it would help us out if you subscribe to the channel, so that way we can continue making these videos, and so that you can stay tuned for the next videos, right?
Yeah.
And so that's it from us. Remember that life is a short journey, so just stay calm, breathe, and just keep breathing. Just keep breathing, and then you'll realize that everything's all right. Huh?
There you go. Remember, life is a short journey. Forgive, be patient, be calm, be happy.
All right. Well, until next time. Pax
bonum.